Namaste, everyone. My name is Om. I am 17. I'm a junior in high school, and I'm from New York.
And my name is Kushi. I'm 20 years old. I'm from New Jersey, and I'm currently a senior at NJIT studying data science. So for most of us, especially me, I think, when we think of a teacher, the first thing that comes to my mind, at least, is a classroom, like lecture hall, grades, canvas, all these things.
So, in terms of Hindu culture, many of us have heard the word guru being used to describe an educational figure or teacher, but I think it has more of a deeper meaning.
But usually today, like nowadays in society and social media, I've heard the terms like beauty guru or cooking guru just thrown around a lot. Like basically guru being used in context synonymous to expert or someone that is really good at something. But the true like root guru actually comes from Sanskrit, where gu means darkness or ignorance and ru means the light that removes it. So together, guru means someone who dispels the darkness.
So, traditionally in Hindu education system, it wasn't all about textbook or a classroom environment, like that kind of knowledge. Students would actually live with their guru in gurukuls. They would learn through daily life activities, which helped them build discipline, character, and it helped them with practical skills needed for their path, but like not just academic knowledge, as to where nowadays it's all about like textbook knowledge. Um, Students also were like in they learned by living with them, seeing what they did, how their gurus really how they treated others, how they spoke with others, how they handled stress. And there's so many more like other ways they did it.
And I think it's still pretty relevant to youth today. Like, even though our education system isn't exactly the way that the traditional education system is structured, it's still relevant because, yeah, we don't have teachers that are exactly gurus for us, but we do still have gurus in our lives that do really impact us and mold our character. I think the first thing that I can think of is the Gurukul system where they like live with the gurus and all is, I guess, to us today is most close to our own homes where we look at our parents, our other relatives, our older siblings, even younger siblings, and just pretty much anyone that lives with us and look at how they behave, how they go about things, and pick up from that and learn from that. Our gurus can be, again, like I said, our parents, family members, close friends, like coaches, some teachers, but anybody that helps shape us significantly and changes how we think, how we see life, how we go about life.
So, Kushi, would my baseball coach be my guru?
I mean, depends. Like, how has your baseball coach shaped your life, shaped your thinking in any way?
Well, he's taught me how to like stay consistent in the game, how to maintain discipline, build character while playing. Like for example, if I were to drop a ball, I would like not pout about it. I would actually like see how to fix myself and where I messed up.
That's really cool, actually. That's really nice that he's taught you that. So yeah, like definitely, I think those are things that you probably do apply in your life outside of baseball too. So definitely, I think in your case, your baseball coach is a guru for you. Today we have a guru coming in with us who's shaped many lives globally. R.B. Ramesh ji is one of India's most respected chess coaches and a major force behind the rise of Indian chess. A former player himself, he's earned the title of grandmaster, which is the highest title awarded in chess and a recognition of elite-level skill. After his own playing career, he went on to start the Chess Gurukul in Chennai in 2008, which is one of the most influential training centers in Indian chess. Beyond just training strong players, Ramesh ji is seen as a true guru because of the way he teaches, guides, and shapes the minds of his students. His approach is rooted in discipline, humility, patience, focus, and character building, not just winning games. He has inspired countless young minds to think deeply, handle pressure with maturity, and grow as people, both on and off the chessboard. For his impact on Indian chess, he received national recognition in 2023 with the prestigious Dronacharya Award, one of India's highest honors for coaches.
Hello. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste, Ramesh. Welcome to the American Hindu podcast.
Hello, Kushi, and hello all.
Namaste, Ramesh. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your day, especially since it's early morning there in Chennai.
It's my pleasure to be with you all.
So before we get into the bigger topic of gurus and guidance, I'd love to start with your journey. Like, how did you go from being a chess player to becoming someone who guides and trains students? And why did you also choose to go down that path and start teaching?
Yeah, so I started playing chess at the age of 12, 1989, when Vishwanathan Anand became India's first grandmaster. And he was a great inspiration to my generation and the subsequent generations. So we all wanted to emulate his performance and be like him. And then when I started becoming a player, I realized at that time we did not have any professional trainers, teachers who teach how to play chess, how to think, how to learn the game. And it was mostly through our own trial and error. We try different things. Some of them work, some of them don't. And we did not know how to self-correct our mistakes and self-learn. It was not easy journey. And then when I looked around, I realized almost everyone was in the same boat. Everyone was looking for guidance for the proper way to learn the game, but it was not just available in India back then. And that is when I felt probably I should try my hand in try to learn the game more effectively. And I tried to do some experiments on myself and also started discussing the game with my compatriots, my friends, and sharing what we know with each other. And in 1998, I started working with my first student, that is Aarti Ramaswamy. And the subsequent year in 1999, she became world under 18 champion. So she was not in the top 10 seeds. She was not expected to win the tournament, but she won it anyway. And it was a huge surprise, pleasant surprise for all of us concerned. And that's the first time like an Indian after Vishwanathan Anand is able to win a medal in the world at the world level. And that gave me a lot of confidence to be a chess trainer. And in 2008, I quit my playing career and started Chess Gurukul and became a full-time trainer.
That's amazing. That's really inspired. That's really inspiring that you wanted to allow and give a platform for so many other prospective chess students, that something that you didn't have.
Yes. And since then, what has happened? At the time when I became a trainer, there was a lot of hesitation from the Indian parents because in all the sports where India was doing well, let's say, for example, cricket, we did not have Indian trainers. Most of the trainers were from abroad, from other countries. So it was not accepted by the society at large that Indians can be good trainers and teach others to excel. So there was initial resistance from some quarters. But then when our students started performing well at the international level, for example, in 2015, India won 5 gold medals in the World Youth Championship. 5 gold medals, and Russia, which was the number one country in chess at the time, they could win 2 medals, not 2 gold, but 2 medals. But our academy won 5 gold medals. So that is when we kind of broke the notion that Indians can be good trainers, and we started gaining the trust of the society at large. And then now we see the Indian trainers are most sought after, especially in Europe, I would say.
That's amazing, Ramesh. Could you share some insight into why you chose the name, particularly Chess Gurukul instead of like Chess Academy or chess classes?
Yeah. So traditionally in India, back then, education, learning was not seen as a commodity that is to be bought and sold. It was not just restricted to transferring information from generation to generation. So education was considered with more respect, with more dignity, and the way the children learned from the teachers, the gurus, was very different. And as you mentioned in the introduction, the students has typically they lived with the trainer, with the gurus, and they observed how the guru is living his life, and it meant the guru needs to have it has immense responsibility. He has to be a good role model worth emulating by the subsequent generations. So the conduct, the character of the teacher has to be exemplary, and also the technical side of it, technical knowledge, technical skills. And nowadays, what is generally happening in schools, like let's say there are 30 or 40 kids in the same classroom, and the same teacher is teaching one subject for everyone, and we are under the assuming like everyone is interested to learn whatever is being taught, everyone has similar learning capabilities, but it is in reality it's not so. Everyone has different learning capacities, aptitude to learning, interest in learning, and not everyone is interested in learning everything that is being taught. So under the Gurukul system, the teacher has the opportunity to observe children at close quarters, understand their strengths and weaknesses, their likes and dislikes, and their learning capacity, and can structure the teaching accordingly. And this I felt made more sense, and that's why I named my chess academy as Chess Gurukul.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. Like, I'm sure that you've seen, as you just said, you've seen many different types of students. Every student has their own way of learning, their own method of learning. Every student is unique, as every person in general is unique. So, how do you kind of adapt your approach for those different types of students? Like, what are the different types of students you've seen? If you could just give us some examples and how you've kind of adapted your teaching based on them.
Yeah, so I am mostly related to teaching chess, and I see teaching chess as a tool to teach good value systems to the students, and also help in building a strong character, and at the same time excel in the game of chess. And as far as differences in the learning capacities, um, broadly speaking, we can categorize students into three categories: one who are extremely good at learning, two who are average, and three who are struggling to learn. And that means the teacher cannot use the same methods with everyone. In the cases of children who are good at learning whatever field we are trying to teach, we don't have to go in depth. When we try to explain, some students are able to understand what is coming, and for some, even after the full explanation, they struggle to understand the concepts. So it is very important um, the teacher talk talk to the students a lot. So in my cases, like if the session is for an hour, I make sure like at least the first 15 minutes I talk to them, explaining the process of learning and convincing them that learning is possible for all of us, not just learning but also efficient learning, where we are able to understand the concepts deeply. Like for example, in the traditional Indian Gurukul system, there is this concept of Shravana, Manana, and Nityasana. What it means is like the Shravana part is where we receive the information, raw data, without much context. So let's say there are 8 planets in the solar system. This is raw data. It doesn't mean anything to us. It doesn't connect to us at a personal level. It's just raw information. So first aspect is receiving the information. And then the second aspect, the student has to think about what has been taught to them, uh, what knowledge they have received, and then try to understand, does it make sense to them? Can they accept that this information is true? Is it valid? And they may get many doubts in trying to understand the concept, and then they think about these doubts by themselves. And in this process, some of the most important aspects of learning happens. So we kind of try to internalize, clarify our doubts in the concepts we are trying to learn. And the final part is the deep contemplation, where once we all our doubts are cleared, we are able to accept the concept as it is good and true. Then we have to assimilate it into our thinking and convert it into our skill. So this is the traditional way of learning. And what happens, like when I try to teach the students, I notice that many children, they are not interested in learning. Some of the children, they get bored easily. Some of the children have concentration issues. They are not able to focus for long hours in trying to learn. And some children have trouble applying themselves in the learning process. And some children show resistance to learning difficult concepts or difficult things. So some children have the mindset like, I need to learn only things that come easily to me. I sorry, I don't have to. Uh, I can ignore things which does not come easily to me. So they believe like they have the option to do so. And so generally the mindset of many children is I can learn only things I like, and I need to learn only things that are easy. So if some things are difficult for me or I don't feel like learning, I can bypass those things. So what I try to do is to talk to them and convince them like everything is learnable provided you are interested to learn and also willing to invest the time, effort, and energy to learn those concepts. So you have to believe like everything is learnable, and the student needs to have a good self confidence, belief in themselves, and not outsource everything to others to learn. So even though the learning from teacher aspect is extremely important from a student's perspective, it should not be limited to learning from the teacher alone, because nowadays with the modern technology we have other sources of learning as well. So for example, there could be some useful YouTube podcasts or some websites where they give some good source material and so on. So the self learning from the student is also very significant part, I would say.
Yeah, just a follow-up question. Like, it was interesting listening to how you, I guess, kind of change your approach per different student. Do you think there is such thing as a bad student, right? Like, let's say, as you were saying, there are students that come in with a certain idea that they can't learn or they can't do this or they give up. Do you think that is a sign of a bad student, or like a student should change their approach? Or do you think that's more of the responsibility of the guru to change that approach? Like what is your perspective on that? Because I'm
I
sure
think
I'm sure many different students, I know some of my friends, sometimes I also come across that obstacle.
yes, as I mentioned, like there is a difference in the learning capacities, learning aptitude of every individual, because as each individual is unique and constituted differently from the others. Though we have many commonalities, there are also differences, and these differences need not have to be looked down upon. Rather than we should look them as an opportunity to make positive changes in those aspects where we are currently struggling. So how I see learning is, uh, for effective learning to happen, there are a few quantities that will be that will help in effective learning from the student's perspective. One, I would say, is the curiosity to know about things, to curiosity to learn about things. And what is happening, what comes in the way of effective learning, one of the primary barriers, I would say, is apart from the social media distractions and so on, the technology and related distractions, is that um, many are, let's say someone, a student goes to an university, try to get a graduation, it's usually done to get a job, and the job is seen as a means to make a living. So education itself is seen as a means to get a good job and make living. So what happens is, like, many students, they don't want to do deep learning, so they don't
Mhm.
really want to understand the concepts. I just have to learn so
Right.
much so that I can get good grades and pass this exam. So this becomes a barrier to deep learning, to understand a concept at a very personal, emotional level. So it's the duty of the teacher, I believe, is to convince the children, like the students, that learning should be done for the learning's sake. I would say if someone is working hard, I would say that is already a reward for the learning. I've seen in chess many times the student will spend 3-4 hours before a competition, and then expecting whatever they prepared to come in the game. But then the opponent plays something else which they did not expect at all. And then after the game, they'll come and say, "Oh, my hard work was totally wasted. I practiced, learned something for 3 hours, which did not occur in the competition at all. So all that learning went
Mhm.
waste." And then I try to tell them, like, the first thing, not everyone can put a good effort at learning. And you did that. You put 3 good hours in trying to learn something good. And this itself is a reward. The ability that you are able to put good effort at learning something, this skill, this ability is itself a reward. And not every effort has to be rewarded
Right.
externally through material benefits. So the learning also is done to make ourselves a better human being, to upgrade our skills at a personal level. So not everything has to be judged from a material perspective. So if we can give this kind of clarity and also convince the children that they need to believe that they are capable of learning, and if they feel they are not good at in a particular area, it doesn't mean they are incapable or weak or bad in learning that. It is just that either it has not been taught properly by the teacher, and or the student did not show invest the right amount of interest, effort, time, and energy into learning the concept. So if we invest ourselves in the proper manner, I believe most things are learnable.
So Ramesh, as you said just now that for Hindu American students or in for many students in general in India or in America, learning can feel very achievement focused. It goes by how your grades are, what college you went to, how good of a college was that, what was your grade in the college, if you got the degree, your resume, and like competitions. And it's morely about success. From your experience, what do you think young people miss when they see learning only through results instead of personal growth?
Yeah, so this happens in chess as well. Like when a young child takes to the game of chess, initially they do it because out of passion, out of love for the game, and the joy and happiness it brings to the child. But when the child starts going for training sessions and also attending in competitions, start competing with the others, then the pressure of winning and the fear of losing kicks in, and they don't want to lose. And also the society at large, it views winning as something good, losing as something bad, and to be ashamed of. So and many times unfortunately the feedback from the parents could also be negative. If their child is not doing well, they may look at their child as a failure, so to speak. And many times the teachers also react in similar manner. So it's very important that we teach um, so, for example, let's say if a 6-year-old child, we ask a 6-year-old child, what do you want to do with your life? And the child says, I want to become a doctor. We will feel happy, okay? You want to become a doctor. But when we ask why you want to become a doctor, imagine if the child says, I've seen doctors make good money. They have big houses. So I want to become rich by becoming a doctor. We would be a little disappointed, isn't it? I would be largely disappointed. I would be
Right.
extremely happy if the child could say, I want to cure disease. I want to help suffering. I want to save lives. I want to find a treatment for some difficult diseases. That would make me really happy, because becoming a doctor is not just a means of making a living, becoming rich. So it's also about contributing to the society in a healthy manner. So this kind of so overall, what is happening is everyone is becoming very individualistic. The I component is becoming too big. It's like I need to do this. I need so the I component is predominant in our life these days. So it's very important. We are in ancient times. Even I remember when I was a young child, the ego, uh, we need to keep it under control. It's not all about me. So there is an us, there is society, there is environment, and other living beings, and there is nature, planet earth. We have to nourish and preserve and conserve all of this. It's not just about me. So how and individuals should look at ourselves is how at least I look at myself is I don't look myself as a Ramesh, an individual who is doing chess training, but how I see is like in the larger scheme of things, I'm just a small tool. For example, if let's say a doctor is performing a surgery and saves the lives of a child who was in very bad condition. Now, the doctor could feel he or she saved the life of the child. It was because of me the life was saved. But how I would like to look, let's say someone brought the child to the hospital on time, and maybe a vehicle was used, and also during the surgery, the child was kept in a bed. The room was well lit. It was sanitized. Someone gave anesthesia, and there was a knife to cut. There were needle and thread to stitch the wound after the surgery, and so on. Without any of this, the whole process could not be complete. So I would say the role of a doctor is nothing more than the role of the needle which was helping in the stitching process after the surgery is over. So the doctor should not feel it was because of me the whole thing was successful. So if every one of us can stop looking at ourselves as the most important part of this universe, and if we can look at ourselves as a small uh, tool uh, which nature or God is using in the larger scheme of things for the larger good of humanity and all living beings, then this ego thing can be controlled and the learning will happen for larger good, not just for self good.
Yeah,
Right.
honestly, I mean, here if I hear that a doctor is only becoming a doctor because they want the money, I'd be concerned about the treatment I'm getting. Be concerned if it was actually genuine or not. But but that kind of whatever you were talking about kind of reminds me of things that I've learned or read in the Gita, right? Like becoming more than just first of all becoming more than just yourself, like renouncing your ego, being humble, but also that whatever you're doing is not for the end goal. Like you were saying, many students feel that just because they didn't win, was pointless. But it's more about like the actual journey, what you're learning, all the obstacles you're overcoming, what you're building, rather than the end goal or the end success or failure, whatever is. More than that, the journey itself is important. So I guess that kind of reminded me of that. And that's very important to learn. I think that's something that American schools kind of lack teaching. Again, as you said, very individualistic society or individualistic thinking that I'm trying to, I guess, and many of my peers are trying to let go of.
I can see a huge difference in the culture, the way people look at success, failure, money, fame, and so on. So one of the things I try to teach my students is like if you're playing chess, if you're pursuing chess excellence, so we should try to excel, not stop halfway. We should commit ourselves wholeheartedly in that journey of excellence and without making any compromises on value systems. But at the same time, it's mostly about um, self growth. We, as I mentioned earlier, we have to use whatever area we are trying to excel in. Like in my case, for example, chess. We use chess as a tool for self growth, not just in the technical aspects of the game, but also in building a very strong personality and building a very good character. Because success without good character is pointless.
Right. So, Ramesh, you've been talking about life lessons and all that kind of stuff. So, how do you merge chess teachings with life lessons and character building in your classroom, making sure like that chess skills aren't the only thing that your students are taking away from that lesson? And what do you hope your students absorb from the environment beyond just chess knowledge?
Yeah, first thing is like to become a good chess player, there are some qualities one requires. Yeah, and most of these are true to excellence in any field, be it academics or with some other sports, music, arts, and so on. So, some of the qualities I would value extremely high. One is the passion for that activity. So, in my case, let's say my students want to become great chess players. So, chess should really make them happy. Just thinking about chess, playing chess, learning chess, discussing about chess, it should make them happy. And two, yeah, chess is a sport, so there is winning, losing happening on a game-to-game basis, day-to-day basis, and this can really affect the confidence, the morale of the child. So what I have seen is like for many young children, as young as 8, 9, 10, and so on, this builds enormous stress. So every time they lose, they feel they have failed in something, they have not met the expectations of their parents or their trainers, or the society will judge them negatively for losing, and so on. So these things, it prevents them from learning effectively. So what happens to such children? They will say, okay, these things are not important for me, for my immediate needs. So I need to learn only few things which will help me get good results in the short run. So they shun things which they see like won't help in the short run. So I try to tell them like you need to be able to sustain, handle disappointments. So I normally like in chess we have like winning, losing, and drawing. So winning is considered a good thing to happen. Drawing is okay, and losing is not so good. Something to be ashamed of, something that we need to avoid, and people will judge negatively if that happens. So I try to tell them like it's like winning, drawing, and losing. It's on the at the same level. They are just three different experiences. It's something like you can enjoy chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, right? They are just three different flavors. Similarly, the results, they are just showing mirror to our effort. So if my result is not good, it just means that my effort was not good. So we have to focus on upgrading our skills through hard work. And the learning will happen only when we are willing to change our perceptions, how we look at things, how we do things, how we think about things. So there are a lot of learning that can happen when we try to excel in any arena. But as I mentioned, the most important quality is we have to take responsibility for our learning and not judge ourselves on every time something goes wrong. We don't have to judge ourselves negatively and lose confidence in the process. So we have to learn to handle disappointments in a manner. We get sad, which is natural if something goes wrong, but at the same time, without losing confidence in ourselves.
Hmm, That's very insightful. I think one more question that I have is how do you kind of prevent students from becoming too dependent on the coach, on you, right? I think one big thing is that there's a misconception that respecting a guru just means not thinking for yourself and blindly following. So, how do you make sure that that doesn't happen and you encourage your students to ask questions, be their own person?
Yeah, so few things. First thing, whenever I start working with a new group of students, I have certain things which I normally convey to them in the first class itself. Therefore, one of the first thing is like the self learning that is happening at home. The homework component is extremely important because in a traditional Gurukul system, the children stay with the guru throughout the day for many years. So they have lot of time and they don't have any fixed time to learn. So every second is a learning experience for them. So they have a lot of time to gradually teach things. But under modern education system, the time the student spends with the teacher is very less, very limited. It's only fixed time in every week. Only few hours is being spent together. So under the circumstance, it's not possible for the student to learn everything of value from the trainer, from the teacher itself. So some of the good things, the technical aspects and the psychological aspects should be learned from the guru. And for that, the student should kind of shed that ego and learn to kind of trust the teacher. And provided the teacher is really good, then
Right.
the trust is extremely important. And just try to learn and follow whatever the teacher teaches to the best of our ability. But then the next component is the learning that happening at home. So I try to tell the children like what are the things that they need to learn to become a great chess player. So I give them a list of things. These are the things we need to master, and we'll be focusing on learning these things this month, let's say in our classes. But you need to learn the other stuff as well. So, and there are
Mhm.
other good sources. There are many books, podcasts, and the digital format. You have a lot of instructional material. So, I try to give them good source material from which they can learn by themselves at home. So, it's from a student's perspective, it's important not to outsource the learning to the trainer in modern education system. I would say, uh, just for the because there is limitation of time. Um, which we can spend with the teacher. So the self-learning component is extremely important. And for that, we need to be extremely open-minded because as we grow, we start forming firm opinions on everything. And when we have very firm opinions, it will be very difficult to change them when some new facts are presented. So it's very important from a student's perspective to be open-minded, flexible, and when new good information comes, they should be able to assimilate them and change their opinions.
Okay.
So, Rameshi, I wanted to ask you. So, earlier in the podcast, me and Kushi were talking about how the term guru itself is thrown around and it has multiple meanings, right? in how would you describe the word guru? How would you define it? And who was your guru while you were growing up?
Yeah, so um, I how to say, guru is a very big term. And in our traditional sense of learning, it's not just about a teacher teaching facts or technical stuff to the student. It's more about opening the eyes. So the word guru itself is like removing darkness, kind of. So shedding
Mhm.
light in the student's mind. So
Right.
basically, like it is not. It's about showing the student that there is so much to learn. For example, in Tamil, there is a saying, "Katrathu kaiman alavu, kalladhathu ulagalavu." And what it means is, katrathu means what we have learned. Uh, Kaiman alavu. Imagine if we go to a beach and we pick up sand in our fist. Like how much sand my hand can hold? It's very less, right? But if I think I'm holding all the sand in my hand, I'm kind of delusional. So what we know is very little, and what we don't know is like vast. It's the size of the universe, you could say. So there is so much to learn, and this is the guru is someone who makes the student aware that there is so much to learn from the world, not just from the teacher, from every individual, from the nature itself. There is so much to be learned, and we should first develop that curiosity, the desire to learn, to upgrade ourselves. So when the learning happens for these reasons, we are not actually competing with anyone, or we are not really focused on getting good grades. So in earlier days, there was no grade system. Like you were number one, you were number five, and so on. So people were not judged based on their learning. So people were judged more about their character and their accomplishments and so on. So it is the duty of a teacher to um, make the students aware that there is a lot to be learned and you can learn everything. Give the child the confidence that they are good, they are capable of learning, and also teach them different ways of learning things. It just doesn't have to happen just by hearing or seeing or writing or reading. Learning can also happen through observation, through good contemplation, and so on. So, making the students an effective learner, teaching them how to learn things themselves, I believe is also a very important component of a teacher.
Right. So I have one more question. Um, like how in like just how we just spoke about how like between the respect barrier between students and teachers, how do we balance respect for a guru with independent thinking? Like how do we make sure we don't cross the barrier, we still be respectful and also get our point shown across too?
So, if you see like the Upanishads in Upanishads, the form of the way it is written, it's a conversation between Shishya and the Guru. So the teacher explains a concept, and immediately the student asks, "You're saying A, B, C. I agree with A and B, but C doesn't seem to make sense to me because of D, E, F reasons. I am not able to accept that C is actually right." And the students could ask these questions to the teacher, and this was considered the best way to learn. So that initially the teacher teaches something and then the student gets some doubts, and he's not able to accept something, and then they immediately ask these doubts. Now what has happened in modern education, like I work with many students on a day-to-day basis. When I explain something, all I see is like children simply listening, and they are not coming up with the follow-up questions. So I remember when I was young, there is a saying in chess, like when you see a good move, look for a better one. Move is one we make on the board. So if you see like there is something good, move, he doesn't say play the good move. So he says when you see a good move, look for a better one. Then I got confused. If I would accept if he says when you see a good move, just play it. But he's saying look for a better one. then why should I see a good move at all if I'm not going to play it? So then I started thinking about this by myself. And I asked, like, what is he trying to tell me in this through this message? And then I understood, like, what appears good to me, it's probably just an appearance. Maybe it's not good. Under deep analysis, maybe it is proven wrong. So what I consider as good, it's probably just my opinion, may not be the truth. So I have to make sure with better analysis that what I consider to be good is actually good. This is one way of looking at it. And he is also trying to teach me that in some situations there are more than one solution available. So I can do through this or some other way. So I have to develop this curiosity to explore different possibilities of approaching the same situation or the problem I'm facing. I should not naively believe the way I look at it is the only way or the best way to deal with that situation. So I need to be more open minded. So this kind of I actually went through this kind of thinking process when I was a kid. When I read this, I could not understand it, and I did not have a teacher to ask about these doubts I had in mind. But when I thought about this by myself, I realized, like, I'm learning so much just by thinking about things. So this, I think, is extremely important. And when we have doubts, we have great respect to the teachers. Like in India, it is even now, like when some of the students, they will touch my feet and take blessings. Now, this is not frowned upon in Indian culture, but in the West, it is very much frowned upon. But what it means is, like, when we bend our head, it's like the ego is here. So when we touch the foot with our head, we are kind of surrendering the ego. So then we become extremely open minded to learning. And we are also showing our respect. And the teacher will traditionally touch the head of the student and bless the student. So there is this bonding, the emotional bonding. The teacher realizes in that act that my responsibility towards this child is much more than sharing facts or information. I need to really care for this student. I need to see that they have a great life and he comes up as a great human being in our association. And yeah, so when the student is showing a lot of respect to the teacher, at the same time, they don't have to agree to everything the teacher says. So, because the teacher has a lot of experience, higher knowledge in the concept, in subject, and the student is just learning the concepts. So, at that stage, there will be a lot of doubts. And it is extremely important you express those questions for which you don't have the answers. Ask those doubts to the teacher. Teacher will be more than happy to clear the doubts. And I don't see them as contradicting each other. Showing respect and trust to the teacher at the same time, not believing everything they say, and we ask questions to clarify our doubts. They're not contradicting each other, I would say.
Yeah, that's very true. I really liked your point of how the guru kind of trains the brain, right? Like you were saying before, kind of helps them learn how to learn, so that the guru, I guess, helps them, if we say use a bike example, like helps them learn how to ride the bike with training wheels, but eventually the student has to take the training wheels off and learn how to ride the bike without them. So that's a really cool concept, actually. And yeah, overall, I think that's also a very important skill to learn. And yeah, questioning is definitely something that's very important in the learning process, right? You can't always learn without having questions. And yeah, the renouncing of ego point was also really interesting. The bending down, I also thought of how we go to, whenever we go to the temple and we bow down to God, it's the same kind of concept. We're surrendering ourselves, we're surrendering our ego to the God, and I guess becoming more humble ourselves that way. There's like the shloka, the Guru Devo Bhava, that we have to have that trust that our guru is divine in that way.
Yeah, it's also that also, like in olden days, like the concept of dharma was given a lot of importance. We have the four purusharthas: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Dharma is the natural. There are many definitions and meanings. I'm not the expert, But if you see nature around us, it has a order. For example, how our heart beats. It's not some randomly beating. It has an order inbuilt. Gravity, is there is some order. The speed of light, how the planets revolve around sun. There is an order in nature everywhere. And the humans, we have higher intellect, we have the rationalizing capacity, so we have to use our intelligence in a way which doesn't contradict or disrupt the natural order. And we all have our own swadharmas, our duties to ourselves, our family, our country, the society, and the
Of
world at
course.
large. So we have to play all those roles without compromising on the dharma. And the
Mhm.
second is the artha component, where we have to be successful, make money, uh, obtain things for our needs, and so on, which is very valid. And if you, I don't know if you are aware of this, that India was the richest country in the world till the British colonized us. Not many
Right.
Indians are aware of this. We have the feeling that we were always poor. No, we were not. We were
No.
the richest country in the world for so long. And if you see, US became rich in the last 100 years, probably since the World War One, you could say. But everyone believes like this has been the case throughout. It was not. India was the richest country, and despite pursuing Atta, making money, and even the means of earning has to be done without compromising the amount.
Hmm.
And the third is the karma aspect. It's the pleasures, needs, likes, dislikes, and so on. Even those should be pursued without compromising dharma. And when one pursues artha and karma without compromising on dharmic values, then we will naturally realize that life is not just about acquiring artha and kama. There is more to life than this. And this does not make me happy all the time. And then we will see, is there something beyond these things which can keep me happy all the time? And that's when we pursue moksha. It will naturally lead us in that journey. But the
Mhm.
point I'm trying to stress is modern society, we are blindly pursuing artha and kama without
Mhm.
any regard for dharma. We don't think about the means, how we are achieving our ends. And that is creating most of the problems the society is facing. And so we have to bring back the focus on dharma, that everything needs to be done, not just done, but done the right way. And if the whole world moves in this direction, there'll be peace, eternal peace, I would say.
Yeah, unfortunately, like as you were saying, the dharma is being forgotten. I guess that's one of the attributes of the Kali Yuga right now. But it's very important to keep that in mind, and it's our gurus that will help us do that.
Yeah. If that's it's very important, like you are living in a different cultural background, different society where the value systems are extremely different. And if we talk about even these things in the public, they may frown upon for us for thinking like this. But when I go to Europe, like I work with the Italian team and their official coach. I work with the Austrian team, I work with the Romanian team, I work with the German, Turkish teams, and so on. So when I travel to Europe also, they have extremely different cultures from where I come from. But when I go, I talk about the Hindu Dharma in a way that is acceptable to them, that makes sense to them. And my teaching, I try to base it upon our dharmic values. And when we explain them in proper language, they are able to relate to it. But and it's extremely important for the youth, your generation who are living in the US. You are not seeing many people living this kind of life, because you are seeing mostly Americans leading an American way of life, and it's very different. And there could be a conflict many times because the Hindu Dharma teaches to look at things in a certain way, and the American way of life, it's probably contradictory.
Yeah,
And
it's
you
pretty
could
different.
be struggling to choose which one I should adapt, because if I adapt the Hindu Dharmic way of life living in the US, maybe I won't be accepted. But how I see is like everyone loves a good human being, right? Be it an American or an European or an Indian, everyone loves a good human being. So the dharmic value system teaches us to be a good human being and let us be successful and good. And I think will be accepted
Yeah,
for
100%.
failure.
So Ramesh, I had a comment. I really loved the part where you mentioned how questioning doesn't contradict with teachers. Um, so how do you handle it since you are probably a guru to many? You said you have like you have hundreds of students. So how do you handle it when you think that somebody is either like questioning you and like there's a barrier where you don't understand, you can't tell 100% what they're trying to ask you or like what their intent is. How do you handle those kind of situations?
No, as I say, like I don't look at myself as an individual. Like I don't see myself as Ramesh. I'm the teacher, and you are the student, and you have to obey me or accept whatever I say without contradicting me. I don't look at it the whole process like that. How I see is like nature, the God is using me to do certain things through me. I'm just a needle or a thread in the whole process. I'm not the important piece of this puzzle. So it doesn't really hurt me if a student asking a question in an impolite way or disrespectful manner. It doesn't affect me too much, or at least I try myself not to get affected by these things. And so I remember an example where one student, uh, this happened probably around 20 years ago. He was like 13 years of age, was reasonably good at chess, but got stuck. Was not able to make progress. He felt he got stagnant. And he asked me, like, when I go for competitions, can I watch television? Back then, the internet was not so common as now. So people were still looking at television for entertainment. So he asked me, like, can I watch television during the competitions? Because he was feeling guilty during a competition. Maybe I should not watch television at all. So what is the right balance? So do you want me to watch TV or not? I said, like, I don't know. So let's do an experiment. So the next competition, don't watch TV or watch it very moderately, maybe like half an hour in a day, and see how it goes. And then he watched it half an hour, not more, and he did very well. Then he was very happy. He came back after the competition and told me, "Sir, I understand now that if I watch only half an hour, not more, I can perform very well." But then I said, so I should not watch TV or I should watch very less. Then I'll play well. But I said, we have only looked at one side of the coin. Let's look at the other side of the coin as well. So in the next competition, try to not watch TV. So he was watching for like half an hour, 1 hour, and sorry, it was the other way. He was not watching TV and he did well. So he said, like, maybe I should not watch TV at all. That's when I will play well. So I said, let's watch TV and then see how it goes. Next competition, he watched like half an hour and he was still playing well. Then he came back and he again had the same question. Should I watch TV or not? So I said, probably we are asking the wrong question. The whether you will play well or not is probably not dependent on whether you watch TV or not. It probably depends on various other factors. Let's try to explore what those other factors are. It's like how well you learn, how well you commit yourself, how well you perform, dedicate yourself to the performance, how involved you are. So there are many other deeper questions involved. It's not just about whether I watch TV or not during the competition. So I try to use these kind of questions to ask counter questions and open up their mind to various ways of looking at things.
Mhm. Was that, I'm just curious, like, was that example, like, you already knew the answer, you knew that it wasn't about the TV, but, or like, was it like you also were not exactly sure with the specific student, but you wanted to see? Like, what was the.
No, I will have my own
Mhm.
opinions, but I just look them as opinions. So whatever I believe, even whatever I'm sharing here with you, I don't see it as this is the truth or this is how it should
Mhm.
be or it has to be. I just feel like I'm sharing my views on these topics and I am malleable to change. So if someone points out what I said is not true, there are other ways of looking at it. I'm open to changing myself. So in that sense, um,
Right.
I see the teacher also is a student. He is learning as much from the students. And so, for example, like if I have to teach something to my students, I have to read books. I have to learn those concepts better myself so I can explain it in a way that is acceptable to the students. So the student, apart from the student, the teacher is also learning as much, if not more, in that whole interaction with the students.
Yeah, that's really interesting how you like also balance, right, as you just said, learning with the students and walking through the process with them, because I guess that gives them a different kind of support and builds that relationship, which is really important for gurus, mentors. That's really
Yeah, I have learned so many good things from my students. I see some young children when they go through difficulty and then they rise to the occasion. So I've worked with many children who are extremely poor. And I have a student I don't want to name. He comes from an extremely poor background and he did not have a
right.
computer till he became an international master. This is like something like a post graduation, you could say. And he didn't have a computer and he achieved it at the age of 13 or 14. And I was super impressed. But when I talk to this poor child, he comes up so happy. He doesn't have any complaints in life against the society for the way he is. He accepts it with humility, and he is a very happy child. And so I'm learning a lot from my students when they handle adverse situations and in a very human way, kind way, mature way. I'm also learning in the process.
So to wrap things up, I have a final question for you, Ramesh. So we've talked a lot about how teachers, guru, and people who guide us, how they shape us deeply, right? What are some ways young American Hindus today can keep the tradition of honoring gurus, teachers, mentors, and like elders alive in modern life, right? Like for example, a lot of people like there's a lost sense of connection. So there's not many like you can't connect with the same connections that you want the younger generation to have.
So actually, I can take away with this question and answer this. So in my experience, for the past couple of years, I've participated in an initiative called Guru Vandana. I've done it in my high school Hindu Yuva club, in my high school Hindu club, and my Hindu Yuva at chapter at NJIT. Through this initiative, we invite our professors, our teachers, our mentors, people that we want to honor. Because again, Guru Vandana means the giving respects to our gurus, giving respects to those who have shaped us. So we invite our professors, mentors, teachers, and conduct a felicitation process that involves many aspects of our Hindu tradition, including applying the kumkum, the tilak, in over here in between our eyebrows, and akshata there as well, and also bowing down to our gurus, as Ramesh mentioned, which is really important because that allows us to, again, renounce our ego. It teaches students to recognize the people who guide them and again, completely bow down to them and give away their ego to them and let them guide their life. So I've experienced this mostly through Hindu Yuva, where many institutions, many high schools across the country, over 200 chapters across the country practice this at so many different institutions. But another organization that also has Guru Vandana initiatives is HEF, which is the Hindu Education Foundation, which is an initiative that collaborates with American schools to enrich the understanding of Hindu culture. So this organization does projects like yoga in schools for teachers and students and traveling poster exhibitions. They also provide professional training to teachers through Hindu culture workshops. Their main initiative, or one of their biggest initiatives, is Guru Vandana also. In 2025, actually, there are 2,200 teachers were honored throughout the U.S. throughout the Guru Vandana initiative. So every year, the number increases for how many institutions have host Guru Vandanas. So through this initiative, not only do students get to surrender their ego to their teachers and honor them, but it also allows many different people to become aware of our Hindu culture and build the positive awareness through that. It also allows the students to to connect personally with teachers and show their appreciation beyond the classrooms and build that personal connection with them. in my experience, the response from the teachers, the mentors has always been extremely positive. Some actually also end up crying and feeling really emotional because it's important to take a pause and honor them and acknowledge their work, which is usually not often done. It's not often appreciated enough. So when it is, they feel very warm, and it helps create that connection with the student. Actually, this is an initiative that can be done at any school. So for the audience listening, if you would like to have Guru Vandana hosted at your own school, please visit www.hefus.org and find the contact information for HEF through there, and they will provide all the materials you need to host the Guru Vandana. Again, that's hefus.org. And again, anyone can do this. It's not it can be anybody, any student, any teacher can start this, and parents can start this as well. So please feel free to check it out and start Guru Vandanas at your schools also.
Ramesh, it's been an honor. I've learned so much from you in this 1 hour that we have spent together. Before you go, if there's anything else you'd like to add.
Yeah, first of all, my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you. I'm really happy to see that despite living in a different environment ecosystem, you are still showing the respect, the curiosity to learn the Bharatiya values. And I would say this value system should not be lost. It has to be preserved, nourished, and shared, transferred from generation to generation. And I'm really happy that Om and Kushi, you both are doing a great job at this. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ramesh. Again, it's been such an honor to have you, and we're so grateful for that you've been able to join us.
Thank you.